Boys Without Names, Chapter 25. With each passing day, the air turns lighter and the sky looks clearer. Slowly, my back was healed. Amar's hugs have brightened my days. Roshan's leaf paste has kept the infection away. Barish has lent me a shirt to sleep on. Sahil let me sleep extra in the morning by filling my bead tray. And GC had brought me a turmeric water every single day. Without them, what would I have done? Still, I don't trust GC. He has been quiet and avoids looking at me, but I know he's watching me. I'm still afraid of what he can do to me, to all of us. Scar has not asked me to run an errand, but even if he does, I wonder if I will be able to walk out of here, catch a bus, and escape alone. In the past few days, all the boys have acted like good friends. They have done so much for me. If I run away, Scar will beat them up, and I know how much it hurts. I hear the attack of the rubber tube as if it's coming down on their backs. Scar will scatter them, maybe send them to the dangerous work to do dangerous work. I can't let that happen. To Amar, Sahil, Roshan, Barish, and even to GC. Is there a chance of getting all of us out when I am not sure about GC? But the way he has taken care of me makes me think I must not count him as an enemy. My thoughts are like a tangled up piece of string. After many days of sun, we have a cloudy morning. Sahil's hair is curlier in the heavy air. It starts to sprinkle, and Scar is wet when he comes in. This change in weather makes me miserable. I thought we were done with monsoon. It is rainy and damp again. When I tell Scar my order is done ahead of time, he brightens up. Make some tea for us, Gopal. This is the first time after beating me that he has asked me to make tea for him. He examines each frame before he wraps it up in newspaper. These are good, really good. Have a full cup of tea with me. I don't feel like celebrating with him by having more tea, but it is better to follow Scar's order than not. I add more milk and water, watch it come to boil. How much is 52 times 44, Scar asks. I throw the tea in the boiling mixture when I calculate. 52 times 44 is hard. So I break it up in my head. 52 times 40 is 2080 and 52 times 4 is 208. I add 2080 and 208 and tells him that is 2288. He smiles as he pulls out a silver pen, writes down the number on a scrap of newspaper and tucks it into his pocket. Is he making that much money? He must be, or else he wouldn't have replaced his lost pencil with such a nice pen. Even with stretch of overcast drizzly days, Scar is in good mood. Maybe it is because of the new frames I'm making or because Diwali festival season is here. On the TV there are advertisements for sweets, saris and jewelry. We don't get to watch the TV, but when Scar has it on, the sound drifts upstairs. 2 days before Diwali or Dhanteras, Scar gets sick. His eyes are bloodshot, his face is flushed, and his temples shine with perspiration. Gopal, he caps weakly. When I come down, he points to the kitchen. Make me a cup of tea, he croaks. Yes, it's an auspicious day. I must have sweets, he mumbles as I go to the stove to heat the water. All this time he gives us just enough food so we don't starve, and now he moans about needing sweets. He needs medicine more than anything else. But why should I tell him that? I'm not stupid enough to prick myself by hugging a thorny acacia tree. Let him have sweets if he wants sweets. Make sure you add enough milk so it doesn't taste watery, like ours, I think. And make a little extra so you can have a sip or two. The master is so generous. When I sit his stainless steel cup down, he grabs my hands. Get me some sweets. It is Dhanteras and I must have some. He takes out a 50 rupee note from his pocket, enough to buy a small box of mixed sweets. Walk 3 streets down and take a left and then a right at the second corner. The store is 3 shops past the corner. Take a jute sack to carry it in so the whole world doesn't see it. Now hurry. He wheezes back and closes his eyes. It is hard to stop grinning. Scar has given me the money and asked me to go to the store alone. He must be delirious with fever, otherwise he would have never done this. It is my chance to flee. I bend down and pull one of the sacks out from the pile beneath his wooden bench. It looks like it might rain. Should I take my raincoat? I ask. I'm thankful for the cloudy days, so have an excuse to take it. Yes, get me my sweets. Hurry! I run up and grab my raincoat. All eyes are on me, but I avoid looking at them. Now I have money in my pocket and I am on the street. My heart thumps faster and faster. After I left, Scar may have asked GC to follow me. I look over my shoulder, but he is not there. A bus passes by, stops at the corner, and people get on. I don't know where it is going, but it doesn't matter. It will take me away from here. I run down the street, cut into the line of people, grab the metal rod, and climb up. The faces of Sahil, Amar, Roshan, Barish, and GC dance in front of me. How can I leave them behind? But this is my only chance. Chance. If I don't escape now, I am never able to do so. People push me from behind. I must move forward to make room for them. Scar will punish them. I will regret this. But if we can all escape together, no one will have to suffer. I must ask someone to help us all. I can't move forward. Someone jabs me in the ribs. I turn around and hop out. If you don't want to ride the bus, then stay away from it. Someone yells. I wipe my sweaty hands on my shirt, stick my hands and back in my pocket to make sure the money is still there, and try to stop trembling. The street is crowded and people are in festive mood. Who should I ask for help? The men with the leather bag. Whom should I trust? The lady buying vegetables. If I can make my eye contact with someone and they smile, then I can talk to them. I look at the men and women passing by, but they are hurrying along. Some men and women are holding their young children's hand, and others are carrying shopping bags. By now, I am at the sweet shop, and no one has even glanced at me. The place is mobbed with the shoppers. The shopkeeper is handing out the boxes, taking the money, giving it to men behind the counter with a cash box, and returning the chance to the customer as fast as I can. I must talk to someone, but who would listen in this noise? Maybe if I can write a note, I can slip it to the shopkeeper. Maybe he's as nice as the owner of Deepak Food Store. I remember I have a pencil tucked in my raincoat, but I don't have a piece of paper. Then an idea comes to me. I have a 50 rupee note on which I can write. I glance at the street to make sure GC is not here. He isn't. Quickly, I move away a few steps, take out my pencil and fold open the bill and rest it on my raincoat. On one side is a picture of Mahatma Gandhi. I try to write on the same side. My hands tremble so much that first I have to take a few deep breaths. Please rescue us. We are 6 boys in an old building, 3 streets down by Nimba tree with a broken branch. Please hurry. I tuck my pencil back into my raincoat and wiggle between a man in milky white kurta pajamas and lady wearing a red silk sari. Hey, you out! Get out! I look to see who is he talking. Don't act so innocent. I know why you have sneaked close to us. The lady in red yells at me. I want to buy sweets, I say. Buy or steal? What? My mouth tightens up. Leave the child alone on this auspicious day. The man in a white kurta pajama says in deep, booming voice that seems to echo from the hills. Maybe you haven't looked at him. If I were you, I would worry about my wallet. My face is hot with shame. I haven't done a thing wrong. I take a step backward. A booming voiceman puts his hand on my shoulder and moves me in front of him. What do you want? He bends down and asks. A box of mixed sweets. 1 large mixed sweets, he orders. Before I can tell him I don't have money for a big box, the shopkeeper gives me a box and holds his hand for money. I have 50 rupees. I don't think it is enough for such a large, fancy box of sweets. I don't have enough money. See, what did I tell you? Now, who is going to pay for him? The red sari woman snarls. The shopkeeper looks at me. He doesn't want any baking on Dhanteras. It is a day of goddess Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth. She would be displeased to see a fight on her special day, and if she is displeased, she might leave. The shopkeeper wants to keep her happy, but he also wants money for the box he handed me. My throat stingles with shame, like an ant in a landslide. I can't scurry into a crack fast enough to save myself. He offers a solution. Pay what you have now and pay me the rest later. What can I say? I can't ask her for more money. Have enough money for a small box. Would you mind exchanging this for a small one? I just shopkeeper as I hand him the money. He opens a bill and everything seems to stop for me. He pauses, his eyebrows go up, his face becomes stiff. Then instead of handing my money to the man with the cash box, he slipped it into my shirt pocket. He picks up a small box and gives it to me. Don't worry, he says. I don't want to do because he doesn't take the big one back, of course, on this auspicious day. He wouldn't take the sweets back. Before I can say anything to the shopkeeper, the booming voice man says, Didn't you hear him? You don't have to pay for it. Get going. The woman in the red sari glares at me. Her nostrils are white, ready to burst open. I almost forget to thank Sweet Man. I turn around and say, Thank you. Sweet Man waves his hand. Samblunja, the booming voice man asks, What's your name? Gopal. Happy Diwali, Gopal, he says. Share your sweets. I slip both boxes into the jute bag and take off before the lady makes any nasty remarks. On the way home, I think about Sweetsman and how he looked at the note. He must have read it, and that is why he kept it separate. Like Guy, he told me to be careful. I'm sure he's going to help us. I wonder if he will call the police. If he does, he would we could be free today or tomorrow or the day after on Diwali. Happy Diwali, Gopal. Share your sweets. Happy Diwali, Gopal. The booming voice echoes in my mind. I realize these sweets are not for me. Scar will take away even the big box that sweets man gave me. Scar won't believe I got it as a gift and will think I stole it. Or worse yet, he might think I bought it with money I stole from him. But why should I tell him I let him have the big box? It is not his, it is mine. I want to share it with all my friends, even with GC. I must think of a way to hide it from Scar. Instead of going to the front door, I check the back door, but the lock is secure. I could climb up the Nimba tree and slide the package to one of the boys, but Scar might hear the noise, open the window, and catch me. There is no way to save the sweets. I have to walk in through the front door and hand Scar both the boxes, unless he is asleep and doesn't notice me. No such luck. Scar is sitting up. The tea has made him alert. Took you a while, he says. It was crowded. He reaches out. Give it to me. I put my raincoat down, slip my hand in the bag, pull out the small box. I hand it to him. He fumbles to untie the red string as I hastily fold up the sack and shove it under his seat and pick up my raincoat. He flings away the string, lifts the cover, and brings the open box closer to his face. While he admires the sweet garnish with silver paper, I kick the sack farther under the seat with my foot. He waves his hand to dismiss me, but first he grabs a diamond-shaped sweet and gives me a silver of it. Go, he says. As I turn around, I see him pop the rest of the piece in his mouth. Scars offered me sweet out of superstition. He probably thinks that if he shares the food with me, I won't cast an evil eye on it, and gives him a stomachache. There is a whole box of sweet for us to eat tonight. I just hope Scar feels well enough to go home. And I hope he doesn't check under his bench. After my errand, it is hard to concentrate on gluing and beading. Doubts flood my mind like rainwater floods the streets in monsoon. I have asked Sweetsman to help us. What if he doesn't talk to the police? What if policemen are as mean as the one who kicked me? What if someone talks to Scar about all this? Sweat breaks out on my face, and as I wipe, I notice GC is staring at me. He smirks. What? Why are you smirking? I blutter out. You tell me, he says. Sahil, sitting between us, has stopped talking. GC suspects something, and if he tells that to Scar, I am doomed. We all are. I wonder if GC will ask me questions tonight. I hope that when I share the sweets, he will think that was my secret. The idea of sharing sweets brings a smile to my face, but it doesn't last long because I again think about our rescue. I wonder if Sweetsman contacted the police by now. The way he looked at me, I know he would. But this is a busy time for his business, so he may not do anything right away. And what if after a couple of days he misplaces the note or uses the money by mistake? He seems trustworthy, but a beat of doubt rolls around in my head. My heart wants to believe in him. I think Sweetman is good kind of person. But what if we talk to police and they don't do anything? What if Scar has bribed some of the police and they tip him off? Roshan says they were once moved hastily before. It could happen again. If Scar finds out about what I did, he will split us up and send me far away from Mumbai. Then I will never see my family again. Barish and Amar will get separated too. Maybe by asking for help, I have put my friends and myself in danger. All afternoon, as I work, time mocks me by sauntering slowly. Finally, around 7, Scar gives us dinners and leave. Alone at last, I hug my secret for 2 more hours. Before I share the sweets, I want to make sure that Scar doesn't return. Finally, it is time to quit work. Tonight, let's keep the light on and share stories. I say, I want to see their expression when I pull out the box of sweets. This is Diwali season. Yes, this is Diwali, Festival of Lights, GC says. Before we start, I have to go downstairs, I say. Why, Marishas? You will see. I skip down the ladder. I feel around under and bench under. I find the right side. When I do, grab the box and untie it. Close your eyes and don't open them until I tell you to. I call to the boys as I climb back up the ladder. Amar has put his hands on his eyes while the other have just closed them. Can we open our eyes? Aman asks when he hears me sit down. No, wait! I take off the lid and put the open box in the middle. You can look now. Amar dimples lights up his face. Parish covers his mouth with his palm. Sahil hugs his snobby knees, and GC's grey eyes sparkle. Roshan lashes flutter in excitement, and his mouth is wide open. Are, these for us? Yes. They all stare at me for a moment. I stare back at them. I know you were hiding something. Just didn't know it was this. How did you get them? GC asked. I notice he doesn't accuse me of stealing. I tell them about what happened when I went to the sweets. After I finish, we admire the sweets. There are white and green diamond shaped bars, yellow round laddus, orange honeycombed cubes. Some of them are covered with a thin layer of silver and some are garnished with nuts and dark cinnamon seeds. I pass the box around and they each take one piece. When Siles turns, he picks up one, breaks off a bit and offers it to me. It is his way of saying thank you, Barish. GC, Roshan and Amar follows his example. We eat without talking. The sugar, nutty, spicy flavor fills my mouth and I let them play on my tongue. When we are done, Amar wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. We still have some more left. Enough to last us for probably 2 more days. I say, you had money, you met a kind man, and you were alone. You should have gone back to your eyes, Sahil says. Barish brushes his hair back. I was thinking the same. Why did you come back? I am tempted to say, I almost did. Why did I not stay on the bus? If I had, I might have with my family. Regrets washes over me. If Gopal's run away, boss will break up our group. He will make our lives miserable. GC's eyes darken with fear. So our lives can get much worse. And Gopal would have been with his family, Sahil says. Amar wiggles closer. Yeah, maybe next time you can get away, then come back and help us. I don't want all of us to be free, I say. GC shakes his head. It is never going to happen if you escape alone, because boss will send us somewhere else right away. You won't be able to find us. They all sit glum-faced and silent. I wish I could tell them about my note to Sweetsman, but don't know if anyone would come to rescue us. Why get my friends' hopes up the mountain top and have them come tumbling down? Besides, I still don't trust GC completely. I promise if I get out of this place, so will you. As I say this, my voice bobbles like a table with 3 legs, but inside I feel solid. With my promise, I try to keep them hopeful. Maybe we have some more sweets. Please, Samar asks. Yes, let's eat some more. We take a few pieces out. Where should we keep the box? I ask. No, not here. Roshan says, trembling. This room is so bare, there's no place to hide the box. If boss finds it, he will beat us. Roshan is right. This room holds nothing but our benches, jute sacks, pair of clothes, and our towels. I have raincoat and Roshan has comb, but that's all. If Scar comes up, he will see the big red box right away. Hide it in the same place you did before, GC says. Sahil reties the string of the box on the box. I go down, slip the box in a jute bag and shove it way in back under Scar's seats. We sit and eat silently in the story circle with naked yellow light off. I want to share a secret with you. I tell them when I'm done eating. The first time I saw the boss, I named him Scarman, but he kicked me and hit me, so I decided to deserve a man behind his name. It feels good to talk about Scar. Amar sits next to me. He says nothing. He says something, but even I can't hear it because he mumbles. Louder, Barish says. Amar shakes his head. Sahil goes next. Gopal tells her about his family, and it reminds me of my ma. I used to push her out of my thoughts, but now I let her stay with me. His voice sinks low and soft. The more she stays with me, the more I miss her. How did you get separated from her? I asked. It happened on a day when the earth shook, houses came down, and people got crushed. I remember him telling me how the school building came crashing down. Did your house collapse too? I asked. Yes, when I ran home from school, my home was no more. So I kept on running. I never saw my parents again. Amar leans forward. Then what? There was a sandstorm, and then someone came. I think I don't remember. Sahil becomes distant. We know he won't talk now. I hate my father, Roshan declares. I hate him for believing in strangers and sending me away with them. And we wait for a few minutes for Roshan to continue. He doesn't. I was not bad, Amar says. My stepmother wanted me out of her house, so she complained to my father about me. He knew it wasn't true. I guess he doesn't love me because he never, ever once took my side. Your mother loved you very much, Barish says. So what? She left me, didn't she? If she hadn't died, I wouldn't have had a stepmother in the first place. He starts sobbing. Barish puts his arm around Amar. It takes a few minutes before Amar stops crying. Will you tell us how you came here? He asks Barish. Barish hesitates a minute before he begins. One day I borrowed my uncle's bicycle without asking him. I don't know how to ride well, and I ran into a tree. The bicycle was banged up, and I was scared to tell my uncle. So I ran away before he found out that I was what I had done. It was a mistake. I hid behind a temple for 2 days, and there I met a man who said he would take me to a city where I could work in his tea stall and make so much money that I could buy a new bike for my uncle. He was well dressed, wore sandals, and was not skinny like the villagers. For a few months I stayed with him and he treated me well, but then the man passed away. I had money saved up and I was ready to go back to the village when my money got stolen. Where did you keep your money? Roshan asked. Under my pillow in an empty cigarette box. Without money, I couldn't go home. So I found a new place to work, and the boss promised me he would pay me well. The promise was like a rose, but what I got was one big thorn of a boss. For 2 years, I served tea, washed dishes, swept floors, and cleaned the tables. One day, a customer cursed me because his glass was not full. I told him it was not my fault since my boss filled up the glasses. The man argued with my boss, demanding his money back. Finally, he threw the tea at my boss, smashed the glass and on the wall, and walked away. That night, my boss beat me up, and I ended up here. Now I'm afraid of Scar, what he can do to me. GC is the only one who hasn't shared his story, but I don't expect him to do so. I'm about to say that we should go to sleep when I hear GC's voice. I love my grandmother very much. We had 3 cows and a few goats, and I used to take them to pasture in the surrounding hills. My grandmother packed me lunches of corn roti with garlic chutney. There were 8 of us friends who went together while our animals grazed. My friends and I played, shared stories, and played pranks. Sometimes we led each other's cows into the fields. The farmer would come running and shouting, chase the cows away, and catch the owner. When I returned in the evening, my grandmother and I milked the cows and goats, and I delivered the milk. I'm afraid that if I interrupt GC, the spell will be broken, so I kept my hands tucked under my feet like Naren did to keep myself from saying a word. Did you drink real milk? Amar asked. That doesn't stop, GC. Yes, we did. It was creamy, foamy, fresh and warm. During the long winter, my grandmother told me stories. The one day she got sick, and even with medicines, she didn't get better. One by one, we sold our goats and cows until we had none left. We ran out of money. We were hungry, and my grandmother needed medicine, so I stole money from a neighbor's house. I got caught. When she found out, my grandmother cried. She passed away the same night. Sahil scoots closer to GC and puts his arms around GC's shoulder. My grandmother was the only person I had in the world. When she died, I had nobody. I killed her. I know I killed her, GC whispers. I wonder if the old lady in the street reminded him of his grandmother. Don't blame yourself, I say. He wipes his eyes. Once she died, I left the village. I traveled without ticket, and when the ticket collector caught me, he kicked me off the train. But I just mugged back on the next train. Sometimes people on the train were kind and shared their food with me. This is how I reached Mumbai. I made friends with a boot polish boy and started helping him. We traveled in the trains and slept in different stations at night. It was not bad. How did you end up here? I asked. One day, some gundas, thugs came and asked for money. We tried to run away. My friend got away, but they caught me. They took all my money, beat me, and tied me with rags. The next day, one of them told me he was my boss and I had to work for him. Doing what? Barish asked. Pickpocketing. I wasn't good at it, and I got punished a lot. One day, a man caught me with my hand in his pocket. I begged him not to turn me over to the police, and he asked me if I wanted to make frames. It was better than pickpocketing, and I came here. By the time I realized Scar has trapped me, it was too late. I wanted to get out of this place. I tried to escape twice, but you see me here. Yar, I wish you could have run away, Amar says. Never. Get tangled in wishes and dreams because they never come true, GC adds. It is very late and we must go to sleep. I guess he doesn't want us to ask questions and we don't. I wonder why GC doesn't tell us his name. He has told us everything else. As I spread my sack, think about how he has become part of the group. If we don't get rescued, we could still be free if we come together and attack Scar. We can overpower him and tie him up because he can't fight six of us at the same time. But will GC ever do that? As bad as this place, this is like home for him now. I remember how difficult it was to sleep on footpath just when Baba, I, the twins, and I arrived in Mumbai. I can understand why GC doesn't want to end up living in streets alone.